Okay, while we're waiting, let me see if I can find that missing library book. Pardon me. Alright. Those are caches. Okay, Chris. You're fine. Those are not library books. No. Set those outside. Hey Justin, I had Kevin just for a moment and we're just still trying to figure it all out. Actually, you know what? While I'm waiting, if you don't mind typing a little bit, Justin, how's everything back in Ontario? Are you still? Yeah, man, you still hanging out around like GTA? Okay, what is this? Oh man. All right, so to anybody who's watching, I think Kevin actually just dipped out from his houseboat to get to a cafe with a stronger connection. So if he's not up and running in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna restart this and I'll just start going into the official live chat, and then when Kevin can join us, then it's all good. Because there's always stuff that I can talk about. That's a non-issue. So it's just a matter of just being patient right now and just waiting. But you can always join me in a cup of hot cup of Joe. See, I need more of this. I really need more of this first thing in the morning. Brain no work, no good. There we go. All right, so let's see if we can. All right, try this again. For whatever reason, wanted to add you, Kevin, and then it said that. Let's see if we can make this happen. Adding, 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 and approve. There's already a guest in this broadcast. What are you talking about? There is no guest. Not yet. Kevin is the guest. So Kevin, on my screen it says that it's adding, but then it also came up saying that there was already a guest. So I don't know if that's just because I approved it possibly twice. So just waiting. Come on, come on, come on. Connection failed. What? Can't find Kevin. There we go. All right, let's try this again. What's my connection like? Yeah, I've got a solid connection here. Chris, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. I don't know what you're barking at or what you're getting ready to bark at. But... All right, through the power of technology. Here's Kevin. This is Dan. Okay, yes, I know. I get this I have this flashing screen right now saying, Kevin, adding. I'm just waiting for it to go through. Connection failed. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. You know what? I'm gonna try it from a different room. I'm gonna get super mobile. Let's see if we can try that again. Because this is just getting redonkulous. Ow. So, I'm essentially, the more that I think about it, this is like, can't bring Kevin on camera. Approve. Look at happen. Engage. Make it so. One time where I was like, yeah, you know what? Like the last two presentations, my phone died halfway through, so I had to like run around and plug it in. Now, I'm like trying to get a solid connection so I can get Kevin hooked up. Can anybody tell me if it's actually past 9 o'clock now? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Right. Still says adding. Okay. So Kevin, I don't know if it's a connection thing on my end or if it's on yours. I'm just really hoping that we don't have to do it upstairs in the kitchen, because that would really, really suck. Kids are still sleeping, so all right, we're gonna try that one more time. Approve. Okay, I'm gonna creep into the room that actually has, so I'm like standing right beside the modem, and I want to see if it's not picking up on my end, or if it's not picking up on Kevin's. sleeping because that's the kind of awesome dad that I am, and an awesome mom that my wife is. So that I can camp out and then sleep in until whenever. I'm literally right beside the modem. I could not get a stronger connection. So if it fails to connect, Kevin, do you think there's any possibility that you could quickly run to a cafe with a stronger feed? I'm hoping that doesn't come to that. Fail. Mother. Okay, give me 2 seconds, folks. Here. We're just having some issues trying to get Kevin connected. Can't figure out if it's on my end or if it's on his. Yeah, no, it's all good. We'll figure it out. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to do what I can here. Try that again. Yeah, I got nothing right now. Well, that's disappointing. But we're not going to give up. No, Presley, we're not going to give up. I'll set that there for now, so people don't get dizzy trying to watch. All right, let's see if we can grab a chair. Okay. I can maybe sit down, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, so it is officially 9 o'clock. Kevin, I don't know if you're still there, but if we can, yeah, I'm just having connection issues. I don't know if it's on my end or yours, but if you want to try on your end and see if there's a way to get a stronger connection, then hopefully we can make this happen. If not, folks, I'm just going to very quickly run into the other room where my coffee is, and I will just basically coffee talk, and then we'll do that. And if it doesn't happen today, then we'll just have to reschedule getting Kevin in, because Kevin is a solid dude and he's got a wealth of knowledge. So I was really hoping that we can make it, and still hoping that we can make it happen today. But give me 30 seconds, probably less than that, and I'm going to grab my coffee and maybe a chair. All right. Timing. All right, Pop. You in? You out? You in? You're in. No, I'm too high. That's a problem back in high school too. Ba-ding! All right, so we're gonna see if I just got messages from Kevin. If video doesn't work, could you The suspense is killing me. If the video doesn't work, could you do an audio thing off your phone? I could. I could actually. Yeah, maybe. People won't be able to see you, but we could definitely get audio of Kevin. That's not a problem. And we'll do more of and then we'll treat it more like an interview than anything else. So I'm gonna get this set up. I appreciate everybody's understanding and patience through all of this. Okay, so yeah. So Kevin, let's try one more time when you're able, and if it doesn't go through, I'm going to just like call you, and uh, and then get you going through the audio. Cool. Okay, so up until that point, because we are now, what is it? Well past 9 o'clock. It is like 5 after 9 in beautiful, sunny West Kelowna. And welcome to the August Coffee Talk with Nate live chat. And we are doing this all from a completely different location because we have moved, and we're now a little higher up on the mountain, and it's really nice. We have a huge house, um, dogtail, and yeah, like what we're actually going to do is convert the entire lower level into like clinic space. So um, today I've had a whole bunch of people asking me for photos of like, show us the house, where are you living, what's your list of fears, the usual. And I'm gonna get around to sending out taking some pictures, and I'll post them up on social media so that so that they're there, and I can appease the people who are so anxiously awaiting pics of the new digs. So yeah, but the room that I'm in right now, we're actually going to convert it into a like a dance slash yoga space. And anybody that knew us back in Ontario knows that our home back then, we we also had we had converted the basement into the same kind of thing. So that's our goal. This room will be like a massive um, dance yoga space. It's also going to be an area where we'll have desks set up for both myself and for my wife Carrie Ann, because the goal is for both of us to be working out of the house, and yeah, so we'll have it all. It'll be like everything behind me, dance yoga, everything that's beyond the cameras right here, office. So then I'll be able to do life coaching from this location, which I'm super super amped up about, because as I've been trying to promote it and build up that clientele, I've had to um, do coffee shop meetings and things like that, and just kind of been like mobile, and I'd like to have it all kind of grounded and a little closer to home, so then you know I'm closer to the kids, all of that, and beyond. Uh, we're actually going to renovate. There's an area that's going to be a brand new um, clinic space for Carrie Ann's registered massage therapy. So it's going to be it's going to be awesome. And the first room that I was in while we were doing tests, that's going to be like our rec room. So the kids will still have a place where they can come down and watch movies, play with their friends, video games, board games, whatever. Because the whole upper level is our actual living space. So all the bedrooms, we've got a couple of bathrooms. We have this nice living room space that we're gonna turn into like our like vinyl room, which is feels a little hipster-ish, but at the same time, we love our music, so we're gonna set that up into like a nice audio space, and yeah, so good things, great things, exciting things on the horizon. We just got to get past the reno stage. So with that in mind, um, let's let's see if we can get Kevin back on here. Kevin, are you around? Can you message me or give me a ring a ding ding? Because if we can't get you on video, then yeah, I'll totally just prop you up on audio so people can still hear what you need to say, and we can discuss what we need to discuss. They just gotta deal with looking at me for the entire time, or the dog. Pressy's here right beside me. Um, but while we're waiting for all of that, I haven't heard much back from the actual members of this group. So if you're watching right now and you got any exciting news, bring it to me. Like, give me a quick heads up. Hey, what's going on? If there's anything that you've been feeling really proud about, bring it to the table. Let's share. Let's have our coffee. Let's have our sweet nectar of the gods and celebrate everyone's achievements. So if you've got anything that you wanted to talk about, type it in, and I'll definitely discuss it here and now. Because let's see, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Okay. Because let's see, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I didn't know you could do this. I'm literally watching myself right now. That's too funny. Okay. But yet I can't bring my friend on camera. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I didn't know you could do this. Now it's stuck in that moment where it's like, you remember Spaceballs, where can we fast forward into the future? Okay, I got to get out of this before it causes my phone to explode. All right, Kevin. You know what, dude? I'm going to. Are you there, man? Let me just see if I can get you back on here. Because if not, I'm just gonna give you a call, and then we'll make it happen that way. Dude. Oh, come on. For the love of the gods. Dude, you there? All right. Okay, let me see if I can get rid of my picture. It won't let me. Nope. Yeah, I mean you're cutting in and out, but let me see if we can make this happen. Oh, come on. Okay. We sort of have Kevin, and I can't figure out how to get rid of. Oh, that's loud. There we go. Okay. Are you like? Is it like super loud for you right now? Sound it's gonna go on. All right, you're cutting in and out. Let me see if I can just give you a quick call. That might just be easier. 1 second, dude. All right, folks, we're almost there. We're almost there. So help me, Todd, if my phone dies on me. Okay. So Kevin is while I'm waiting for Kevin to so we can make this connection. Kevin actually lives out on the island, and when I was out there, we were trying to make it work. Oh, okay, here we go. Let me see if I can get the volume up. Dude? Hello? Hello? Kevin? Oh man, what's going on with my volume? Let me try that now. I can hear you. I'm just trying to get my volume. Oh, hello?
You want to try phone?
Yeah, well, I think I got you. But I think you might be cutting out. All right. Last attempt, dude. I'm just going to try and call you. Where is Kevin? They called him Kevin. All right. Here we go. Speaker. Come on. That's a good sign.
Hi.
Hey, dude, there we go. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Let me just beast up the volume on my end. Okay, so we kind of sort of have Kevin here. We have the voice of Kevin, and which is just as awesome as having him doing the video. So, dude, how you been?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing better now that I actually have my guest actually speaking to me for the live chat. But yeah, we just been settling in and doing our thing. We're still surrounded by boxes. It's the same old, same old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite a thing to move a house with a couple of kids.
It has definitely had its moments. But yeah, I mean, like they're all settled for the most part. We're just that they could sleep in their own rooms. Their beds are all set up, but we're still like trying to unpack all the boxes of like toys and everything so they can just like run around and do their deal. But
Yeah.
they've met a couple of kids within the neighborhood, so they've been out on their bikes and getting to familiarize themselves with the scene out here. So it's been good. It's been really good.
Good.
But
Awesome.
yeah, man. So since I got you here, and there was a good chunk of our regular time spent trying to make this connection. Um, if you don't mind, just gonna jump into it.
Go for it.
All right, cool, man. So can you, for those that are actually watching and anybody who might be listening, just give a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are.
Sure. Sure. Well, I mean, typically when people ask that question, we dive right into career. But I think for me, the way I always like to answer that question is by saying that I now live on a sailboat out on the west coast, which is a pretty dramatic change for me from the last few years where I was working and living in Toronto. So I live aboard a 37-foot steel schooner out on the west coast. Presently, I'm up across from Campbell River in Desolation Sound. I've motored over yesterday afternoon to a place called Refuge Cove, and so I'm hanging out here for the morning, and I'll probably head out and do some cruising around in the fantastic wilderness that is this coast. And so I'm taking the summer sort of off. I work part-time for Island Health, the hospital system on Vancouver Island, as an injury and violence prevention coordinator, coordinating violence and injury prevention programs in the hospital for teenagers across Vancouver Island. That's a part-time, stable gig for me, which is awesome, and allows me to do the rest of the work that I so love doing, which is around violence prevention. And that takes numerous shapes and forms, depending on the needs of folks out there across the country. Often I'm out facilitating workshops. Last fall, I ran workshops for athletes at University of Toronto for pretty close to a month, 25 days of workshops. I just finished writing a curriculum for the YWCA in Vancouver. And this summer, with my vacation time, I'm finishing a book that I'm writing on toxic masculinity. So there's always something on the go, it seems, something to do, some work to do, never a dull moment for me. Things are busy, and I guess that's the way I like it, though I do enjoy some time off now and then. But I found living on a sailboat to be quite a challenge and quite a lot of work. So, yeah, it's good times for sure. and I make coffee. I'm drinking. I'm on my second cup today. Because I don't have a lot of electricity on the boat, I hand grind my coffee.
Oh my God, that's dedication.
It is. I could send through a picture to you. I don't know if you could post that for people to see.
Yeah, man. I mean, like whatever you can get your hands on, like that's insane. We grind our own here, but we do not do it by hand. There's no. There's no time or patience for that. So.
No. Well, I just sent you two photos. One of the hand grinder and the other one of the sailboat.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll see if I can get those posted up. But the one thing that I wanted to kind of dive into is speaking about violence prevention. Like when we're discussing that topic, and I know with the workshop that you've been doing and that you continue to do, it's been based around really kind of, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but it's been focused on tackling the aspects of like toxic masculinity and then how they would transfer into violence in its many forms. We would see like in relationships or like in the workplace or like in the schoolyard. If I'm way off track, then let me know. But would you be able to kind of explain a little further as to like what that is?
Yeah, you mean what the method is that we use in terms of talking with folks about violence?
Well, violence and I guess because when I try and talk to, like, I've had some people that have come up and asked me, like, when you talk about toxic masculinity, there are still, though, like, I come across individuals that still really have no idea what that even is, that's actually considered to be a thing. So I guess the first thing I want to, is to kind of talk about that and just some more information around that.
Sure. Yeah, it's a word that's gotten a lot of traction in the last couple of years. It's one of the top 10 most Googled terms of 2018, for example. And it's kind of a word to describe the unhealthy or very damaging aspects of masculinity that are leading to violence against not just women and girls, but also men and boys and all those who do not identify within the gender binary. So gender conforming, fluid, transphobe. Violence, homophobia, problematic.
Yeah.
But it's also things like excessive risk-taking behavior, the intoxication culture with alcohol and drugs that are done to excess that subsequently lead to people making really unfortunate choices, often involving violence. So it's really like it's the worst sides of masculinity that we see playing out, right?
Yeah.
and so when we're talking with folks about that, you know, when I go into workshop or to do like the whole high school assembly, you know, we're really trying to unpack that and acknowledge that, you know, we're all impacted by this, and that as guys, as dudes or men, you know, we've all participated in this. We've all participated in sexism. You know, I don't go up and stand before people and pretend like I've never, you know, said something that's sexist, because we all grew up in these systems and have participated in them, and so it's important to come at it from that perspective, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree because like there have been, I mean, I definitely can think to like the Me Too movement when it really gained like traction, and and having to like to step forward as an ally, but also to recognize that yeah, like I've definitely I can think back to moments where I have totally been on the wrong side of that fence, and just like how to reflect on some of the mistakes that I've made, um, and helping to either perpetuate, you know, levels of sexism, or just by not saying anything, and then you end up you're enabling, you know, those negative behaviors, and which then does nothing for, you know, the perpetuate people who are perpetuating it, or the victims of, you know, violence, or the after effects of toxic masculinity. So for me, I'm really happy to hear that going into a workshop that's one of the things that you're talking about, because I think as men, as boys, that's the conversation that really needs to happen, is to be able to say that, you know, nobody's perfect, but at the same time, you know, you can't just shrug it off. You know.
Yep. Yep.
So it's like, so yeah, like I'm that's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to get you on here, is because like this is a conversation that does need to take place. I mean, for parents to have the conversations with their kids, or within like a workplace, teachers or school admin being comfortable to speak, to talk about this, or to feel comfortable to bring somebody in to talk to students. Um, you know, it's super important. So the more people that know about it, you know, the better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that approach it's really effective and almost disarming, right? Because I think when speakers come in, sometimes you feel like they're being targeted as perpetrators, like that adults never do anything wrong, and
yeah.
I think under toxic masculinity, we're also taught, as a gender norm or expectation, that we should always be right, and that if we admit that we're wrong, there's going to be some really big social consequences. And so I think that when we as leaders, you know, who are speaking with youth, acknowledge that, you know, we've all done some harm at some time, which all people have, right? Men in particular, but also women. You know, anybody has the potential to cause harm.
Yeah.
And so when we do that, we're unraveling, I think, in a really good way, some of those social constructs which prevent dialogue that can move us forward.
Okay. Yeah. Totally. And now, if like if we were to sit down with like a room of parents that are, you know, they're expressing some concerns around, like, maybe they've seen negative behaviors within like their own kids, or perhaps their children, sons, daughters, were the victims of violence of any form. Are there any strategies that you would suggest, like bringing to the table? Or like I know it's all kind of it all depends on the situation, to work on, like, a positive outcome. But at the same time, like, just generally speaking, is there anything that would come to mind that you'd be like, first step would kind of be like this? Is
Yeah,
that
you mean if we're working with parents and their kids have been participating in this or victims of it?
Yeah, either or. Like if there's a parent that's just like, how do I talk to my son about this, or like we're seeing this and we have concerns, or my daughter. Yeah, yeah. Let's start there. Let's start with parents that are seeing behaviors that have their children become their perpetuating.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to answer that question. The first thing that's important for you to acknowledge is that I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I would like to someday, but I don't presently, and so I don't have that experience. But I think that as parents, it's a challenging journey, especially when you get to have teenagers who seem to have their own lives pretty much happening by the time they're 13 or 14. But I think that I think a lot of parents think that they need to step back at that point and let their kids sort of go.
Yeah.
And actually, I think in some ways it's the opposite, and that's kind of old school. But I think when parents can express concern, express their own feelings, like emotional intelligence is a life skill for all of us. Though we're discouraged in many ways from expressing our emotions on multiple levels in our societies and cultures. But I think when parents can express concern for, what they've seen or heard, or what their kids are going through, that's really powerful, right? Like it's expressing how they're feeling, and they can also express their needs. Right from there, and I think if we look at the example of say youth participation in intoxication culture, which is deeply connected into toxic masculinity, which we seem to as a society readily accept that teenagers are going to participate in. They're going to drink, they're going to do lots of drugs, experiment, part of growing up. If we can express some concern about some of the things that sometimes happen as part of this intoxication culture, I think that's really powerful, right? Like we have a lot of unintended consequences that can arise from teenagers going out and becoming intoxicated with, in particular, alcohol. Right? There's a lot of sexual violence that takes place. There can be physical violence between boys and young men. There can be drinking and driving. There can be unwanted pregnancies. The list goes on and on. We all know because we participated in it when we were growing up, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think like teenagers you can't lock a teenager up in their room and tell them never to, they're not going out until they're 19. But I think that we can have those conversations, about what's going on and how normalized and unquestioned it is when in fact we should be questioning what's happening. Like teenagers are dying from alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Still. And it's normalized that it's like almost like a rite of passage. That's just normal to drink to excess. When in fact most adults who are who are healthy and in a good place, we're no longer doing that. It's a big night out to have 3 or 4 drinks now.
Yeah.
And that's, and according to all of the health guidelines we have around alcohol, that's about normal. And yet for teenagers, we see them, sometimes going out and having 10 or more drinks in a night.
Yeah.
And this has dramatic consequences sometimes that could be averted if we express some concern and offered support. I think.
Yeah. No. I totally agree, because like when you bring up, you think back to like what we did as teens, and that's totally true. Like it was, I mean, for me, it was all bush parties and like just kind of party hopping. But you usually ended up, so you'd have numerous folks that are backpacks full of like beer or wine or whatever, and it's yeah, like it was just commonplace. But I mean, I know there were also a large number of deaths related to drunk driving. Like there were a lot of students that passed away, or that there were other consequences from our decisions. But the adults, like they all knew, and nobody really kind of stepped up to be like, yeah, you know what, does this really actually make sense? So
Yeah.
so yeah, I totally agree that have, starting those conversations, and even and just to ask those questions with with your teens is a great jumping off point. I mean, we may not enjoy the answer that we hear, but at least it gets the conversation started.
Yeah. Well, and they may say, screw you, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm going out and I'm drunk at the party.
Yeah.
And like once they're gone, what do you do, right? But I think that that voice still matters, and it's when we're basing it in feelings and not judgment.
Yeah.
That's when we may have a shot at becoming clearer. Getting that message across.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I always applaud the parents that are just like, where they understand that chances are incredibly good that yeah, you're going to a party and there's not going to be pizza and chips. So if things get out of hand, doesn't matter if it's like 3 a.m, like give me a call and we'll come get you. Like that personally saved me a few times, and I know it saved a few friends years past. So it's like,
yeah.
So I mean, like just even to be able to be that resource, because like it felt comfortable. It felt comforting for myself knowing that it wasn't like a hall pass to go out and do stupid stuff. It was just like, we still want you to be responsible, but if you feel like things are out of hand, like do not get in a car with somebody who's been drinking.
Yeah.
Like we'll come get you, or if things are going sideways at a party, like yeah, like just hit us up. And that was really good, because like I can think back to acquaintances that they didn't have that option, and then they found themselves getting deeper and deeper in a bad situation. So yeah, so then okay, so if we were to then look at discussions around parents that have had their sons or daughters that come and say, because it is, I mean, I know stereotypically we would look and be like, victims of sexual violence would be young women, but it's at both ends, because there are young boys that that find themselves in victims of that as well. Any strategies that you would have for parents that then trying to figure out how to approach their children who are now dealing with this within their life, the after effects, trying to comprehend what's happened, steps to take, anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I can comment on that. So I'm not a counselor, and so I always if somebody has experienced sexual violence, it doesn't matter whether it's a child or an adult or a teenager. They need to get those resources and supports. That sometimes comes in the four-letter word of help. We need to, as opposed to repressing it, process it and try to move through it, talk about how it's made us feel. There's so many resources out there now for anybody who's been impacted by sexual violence, that we're more aware of than ever before. I think for parents it's a really tough journey to go through to to have seen their kids impacted this way, and my heart just goes out to any parent that is experiencing that.
Yeah,
that's got to be a really tough journey. But I think it can have some positive sides to it. I think if parents are better able to work with their kids to figure out what their boundaries are, then hopefully those kids can go forward from a place of strength, moving out of the situation empowered to be able to in the future be clear with people about their boundaries. Now that doesn't mean that because they experience sexual violence that they are in any way at fault because they didn't articulate their boundaries. And we know that people are sometimes going to commit acts of sexual violence despite people articulating their boundaries. But
yeah,
I think, though, that kids can come away from these situations better able to clearly articulate, directly to others, when something has when something's about to occur that's harmful, that they're not okay with it, right? And extricate themselves from that situation, hopefully. So I hope that's an answer to that question. Tough question, but a good question.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good, man. So I just want to check our time real quick. I know we had a bit of a late start to it, but if we can, you want to take some time? I know you mentioned working on a book. Do you want to speak to that at all, or just want to keep that on the back burner for now?
No, I don't mind. I don't mind sharing about that. I
Okay.
appreciate the interest, for sure. Because when you're writing a book, it can be a challenging process, and I'm grateful to be able to share a little bit about that. I started writing it last fall. I was traveling back and forth a lot to Toronto, and I had a lot of time in planes, and there's so much stuff in my brain, and that I've been through and experienced in both my personal life and as well in my professional life, as a speaker, whether it's delivering a talk or doing a more interactive workshop. And so I just wanted to get some of this stuff out there because I feel like the methodology that I've begun to use in workshops to reflect the widespread reality of gender-based violence, toxic masculinity, and the way that it impacts everybody. I think that's unique. In terms of what I've seen in the field, it's just a little different, right? Everybody's got a different way, a little bit different of a way of doing it. But I've been at this for going into my 10th year next year, so I can almost call it a decade of doing this work. And what I've seen over time has been a real transformation in terms of the messaging and the fact that everybody needs this, everybody's impacted by this, everybody's got a role to play, and that's fantastic. It started out, my career started out really, it was about addressing violence against women and girls, and that's fantastic. Like, we got to do that. But now what I love is that there's a full recognition that these issues impact all of us, and so this is really reflected in the book. And I dive into really the sort of the five core ways that we can work to address toxic masculinity, and they are the following: emotional intelligence work, so growing our own self-awareness of what we're feeling, to be better communicators in relationships. Building consent culture is the second one, so ways that we can all do that, and it's not just about sex. Consent is in so many different things that we do. The third piece is around bystander intervention, so how we effectively intervene when we see or hear somebody experiencing violence. The fourth one is believing survivors, so how important that is when people come forward to share their stories of experiencing violence, that we believe them and we don't blame them. And the fifth one is how we can be effective allies when people do share with us. What can we say? What can we do? What do people need? So there's sort of 5 core approaches there that come out in the second part of the book, and the first part is really understanding the full picture of toxic masculinity and gender-based violence, like what's causing it, where does it come from, and it's been a wild ride. I'm 45,000 words in, and my target is for around 50. So I'm just about there with a rough draft, and it doesn't seem so rough. It seems fairly polished. Like I'm pretty close to being ready to start shopping it around for publishers, and I'm shopping around for a literary agent as well. If there are any literary agents perchance on the coffee talk this morning, looking for a literary agent or somebody knows one. But I'm also happy to just start shopping it around, because I think it's going to be an important book, and I think it's going to get legs and it's going to move. It's called Getting the Toxic Out of Masculinity.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
Thanks.
No worries, man. No worries. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm very excited to hear more updates as to the progression of that, because it's like, to get that out there and to have those talking points and those discussion points, and for somebody to sit down and really kind of dig deep into that, I think is absolutely amazing. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. We're running short on time, so I'll wrap this up. But before I hang up on you, or you hang up on me, whichever comes first, where can people get a hold of you? Is there any particular contacts that you look? Because like I know that people can find you through Voices for Equity for speaking engagements.
Yeah.
Is there any other avenues that people could reach out if they're like, hey, you know what, I think I want to talk further with Kevin, get them to come in, speak, or run a workshop or anything? Is it all through Voices for Equity, or is there anywhere else that you would recommend people hunt you down?
People could email me, Kevin J. Vowles at gmail.com, VOWLES, the way you spell the last name, all lowercase. Also happy to just take phone calls, 250-858-7643. My Instagram is GBV Prevention, Gender-Based Violence Prevention, just GBV Prevention. I'm not on Twitter too much. You can find me on Facebook, though, as well. Any of those ways is just fine.
Sweet. Okay, man. Well, and what I'll do from my end is when this video gets saved to the group, I'll make sure to put down like your contact info as well, so that individuals, whoever's interested, can reach out to you. Yeah, man. And I got the photos, so I'm gonna after I hang up, I'm gonna grab those photos that you sent me and see if I can show them to any of the viewers. And but before I go, I want to thank you so much for taking the opportunity. Yeah, man. I'm really happy that I was able to get you on here, even if it was speaking through a phone. It's all good.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for inviting me and having me. I'm sorry the video didn't work out. When I saw that I had 3 out of 4 bars here, I thought, okay, I'm fine. We'll be good. And but yeah, I don't know what the hang up was, but thank you for having me and making it work anyway.
Yeah, no worries, man. And so we'll definitely be keeping in touch. And you just again, thank you for doing the work that you're doing, man.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Take care.
All right, take it easy.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye. All right, so folks, what I will do is again, that was Kevin Vowles, and he does workshops and presentations based around gender-based violence prevention. Also speaking to toxic masculinity. I will make sure that his contact info is connected to this particular video. So if anybody's interested in reaching out to him further, by all means, we can make that happen. He sent me a couple photos, so I'm just trying to. I saw them come up. I just want to see if I can find them. So there we go, if people can see that. So this is the a quick shot of the inside of his boat from where Kevin lives and resides. And let me see if I get a better picture of the actual scooter. So, boom. If you're going to live on a boat, you do it right. Kevin's doing it right. Look at that. That's a beauty. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jealous that we're not sailing. But then again, I'm a swimmer. I'm not a sailor. So I'll leave the sailing to Kevin, and I'll keep my feet firmly planted on terra firma. Ladies and gentlemen, for September, we're going to be dipping into the brand new school year. So I know that there's always like craziness around that. I'm actually going to be gone for a couple of weeks in this month. So from my end, you won't hear much from the Coffee Talk with Nate group. And but once I've figured out the topic for September's live chat, I'll post that up and hopefully see all of you there. And for those who couldn't make it, this will be saved, so you can come back and watch it later on, share it amongst your friends, or do what you need to do. Other than that, I need to get out of here and make sure that it's not just me and the dog in the house. All right. Many blessings and blessed be.